자, 오랜만에 또 며칠 만에 또 하는군요. 유로트럭2 다시 운행을 해보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 일거리를 받아갑시다. 현재 상태가 레벨 11, 돈이 57,000 정도, 직원은 2명. 아직 갈 길 머네. 이제 내 장비를 갖고 내가 있는 위치가 여기니까 노르웨이 왔는 김에 노르웨이를 더 돌아다닙시다. 자갈? 오케이, 오슬로로. 여기 내비게이션을 찾아야겠죠? 나갈 때는 여기가 휴지. 나가는 데가 어디죠? 아, 이렇게 나가는구나. 이 배를 타고 이제 외국을 왔다 갔다 하는 게 화물선인데, 바다도 출렁이고. 쟤네들 방역인데 방역했어. 물건을 실으러 가는 게 맞죠, 지금? 잠깐만 가는 길에 심심하니까 다시 우리 영어 공부하면서 갑시다.
And tonight, Tom's reminded of old memories. In 3/4 of an hour discussing banking, here's Paul Lewis.
Thanks, Caroline. Do we need bank branches? Over the UK, more than half have gone in the last 25 years, and they could halve again in the next 10.
오른쪽으로 빠져들읍시다.
650 closed last year. 177 were the last bank in town. But with more of us banking online on the phone, do we need bank branches at all? Or are they a valuable local service which at some point we'll all need? Join the debate or ask a question. Call 03700 100 444 now. Moneybox Live, do we need bank branches? Just after 3. Lines are open for your calls now. The number is 03700 100 444.
Thanks, Paul. First on our radio for National Storms raging. Comment is free. Star Manchester and Paris Menzies.
Political journalist Alistair Cooper today sparked Cooper pictured with his wife Hillary and their 2-year-old daughter Agnes. Oh God, he's spoiled.
Imagine having Alistair Cooper as a father.
저수지네. 저기서 이 자갈을 채굴 하나.
Alistair Cooper's latest comments on immigration have sparked outrage on social
The
media.
hashtag #ShutUpAlistair continues to trend on Twitter.
Shut up, Alistair. Shut up, Alistair's trending worldwide.
I love how
Shut up, Alistair.
Now go away.
So I heard Alistair on the radio.
Was he good?
You didn't listen.
I never do, I don't have time.
He really went for it.
Always does.
He's getting worse. You really didn't listen. Some of the language he used.
Why do you listen when you're annoyed?
먼지 나지 말고 볼 뿌리는데.
There are a lot of people that are very upset.
I'm always upset about stuff.
Maybe you should talk to him. Just get him to tone things down. He's getting up.
우리 날 뒤로
Don't be so
나가야겠네.
dramatic.
I'm your brother.
So,
So, I'm worried about you. People are really angry.
Alice has been saying stuff like this for years. It's never bothered you before. What's this really about?
When I tell people that he's my brother-in-law, there's a look. They get a
경치를
look.
구해볼까요?
Oh, like they're related to Hitler. Look,
Your lefty mates.
yes. But
여기
just
저수지를
that
바닥에서
strange.
채굴 하나 보네. 자갈을.
No.
자갈을
Well,
이렇게
yes,
만들어서
sometimes. I was on one last week.
이런 거 이제 트레일러에 실으면
right up until I said
먼저 이게
that
싣고
right down to the-
배달을 가면 갑시다. 배달을.
I'm sure Alice is going to be devastated he's interfering
오,
with your
그래서
love.
그걸
Doesn't it get to you?
배 빠지시잖아.
How much we weigh?
Of course not. Never has. Alice doesn't care what people think.
폭형 있네.
Why?
폭형 다리 들었다
He's a
내렸다
great
들었다
dad,
내렸다 저거.
wonderful
뒤꿈치
husband,
올렸다니까
just
이제
about my favourite person on the
정력당한
planet.
것 같은데.
They can hate the lacto version all they like.
폭형의 달려는 끊임없구나.
I absolutely hate Alistair Cooper. I despise Alistair Cooper. I quite like Alistair Cooper. I think he articulates what a lot of the country is feeling.
Can he show us there's an appetite for it, that there's something that people feel and want to be said?
Listen to these things. You just can't disagree with that.
Yeah, I really like Alistair Cooper. He says it how it is. I don't know you, but just to see if you think Alistair Cooper is terrible, then you're a terrible person.
Then you are a terrible person.
21 things Alistair Cooper said that are just plain wrong.
Take our quiz. Who said this? Alistair or Adolf?
See 3 pieces of ham that look like Alistair Cooper.
이건 여기서
A petition
이렇게
asking the
생긴 데서 이제
government to
빠진다.
report the journalist Alistair Cooper.
Sign this
has
petition.
based almost 300,000
Could you sign this, please?
Hi, you've reached Alistair Cooper. I can't get to the phone right now, but if you leave me a message, I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Alistair, it's me. If you haven't been deported yet, can you pick up some milk on your way home? I'm working late again. Oh, and some batter. See you soon. Bye.
The controversial columnist Alistair Cooper has once again sparked outrage.
Have you seen this?
Have you read this?
Seen this?
Unbelievable, unbelievable.
Horrendous.
Absolutely unbelievable.
How can anyone from his background talk about inequality with a straight face?
Rich, arrogant,
스텔라 925
is dangerous. It needs to
서로
be stopped.
만나요.
Give him the
야
oxygen.
우리
Don't give him oxygen, full stop.
Guys, please stop mentioning Alistair Cooper's name. It's exactly what he wants.
물 색감을 표현을 잘해놓은
Written by people like Alistair Cooper.
Hi, you've reached Alistair Cooper. I can't get to the phone right now, but if you leave me a message, I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Darling, I've seen nonsense, but I just wanted to wish you good luck tonight. Remember to talk slowly. And don't do that horrible smirky thing you do. Love you. Bye.
Thank you very much. You can use Facebook, remember, Twitter to comment on what you hear to see what happens. Our first
I
person.
swear Alistair Cooper has got questions like every minute.
435km 운전해 가야 되니까 7시간.
It's kind of just spreading.
Creating his buzz and he's creating this attention and he's shifting focus, political focus, away from the things that are important.
His face is like a ham.
He's a bag of meat with a head
이거
made of
들어가야겠네.
sausage.
The skin is melting off his face.
It makes me wanna run. Seriously, I don't usually see this. People like him should be strung up.
Completely agree.
Gonna murder you and your wife and then drown your daughter.
Alistair Cooper today posted a defiant message in response to threats made on social media.
Metropolitan Police are investigating threatening social media posts directed at the political commentator Alistair Cooper.
노르웨이 이런 곳이 있어.
Cooper does a lot more harm every day of his life. It's one isolated project of beating me.
Someone like him can't say what they like and then complain when other people do the same.
I'm at work then, what's up?
Sorry, listen, Mum wanted to tell me she's worried about threats against Alistair.
Guess all the time it's just a bunch of weirdos.
The things they're saying.
They are sitting at their laptops like trolls
자, 완전히
with nothing better to
빠져나왔습니다.
do.
넓은 길로
Find it funny.
갑니다.
Well, we both do. The police say it's nothing to worry about. I think it's a joint intention, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me.
주유는 하면서 한번 해야 될 것 같고.
Mum's worried about what people are saying about her around the village. Listen, you both just need to ignore it. Trust me, it's all just noise.
Who does he think he is?
Coming! Mr. Cooper? Yes? My name is Detective Constable Hill, and this is Police Officer.
이야,
We need to talk to you about your husband.
물 출렁거리는 거야. 우와.
Yes, yes, of course.
이야.
Come in. Just this way.
The journalist on the media personality Alistair Cooper has known Frontier China reports from the scene.
아, 뭐 내가 내 미지를 까먹다니.
I remember I went to see the one of the games when we were in Rio. Gave me tickets to Manhattan to go see some of the matches. It was really fun.
What's his favourite dish?
I think duck.
Your favourite, your signature dish?
My signature dish, I think probably duck. I mean, Peking duck. I think it's the dish I cook the most.
위험운전을 하고 있죠. 가만히 진짜
Can you give me the details on that tasting job again? Okay. I'm so hungry. Ken, speaking duck. Ken, we have run out of time. We could talk to you all day.
I should send you some food right now.
You really should. Well, you sent the nation food. As Sarah said at the beginning of this interview, the reason we have soy sauce in your kitchen coming now is because of the man we're speaking to, the legendary Ken On. Thank you so much for joining us. His book, My Stir-Fried Life. Go cop that. It's 31 minutes past 2.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet. This is BBC 5
주유를
Live.
완료하였습니다.
And here are the headlines. Theresa May says the Conservatives will restore fairness to Britain and stand up for the weak. In her closing speech to the party conference, the Prime Minister said Labour were now seen as the nasty party. The undercover journalist known as the Fake Sheikh has been found guilty of conspiring to pervert the course of justice. Maza Mahmood and his driver were both convicted after the collapsed drug trial of the singer Talisa Kontostavos. 3 women and a man have pleaded guilty to fraud after selling hundreds of seriously ill puppies. They described them as home-reared, but an RSPCA investigation found they were kept in poor conditions on a puppy farm in Essex. TalkTalk has been fined £400,000 for security failures after last year's cyber attack. Hackers stole thousands of customers' information. And the British songwriter behind some of Michael Jackson's classic hits has died. Rod Temperton wrote Thriller and Rock With You. He was 66. How can I say? Delith is here with the sport.
World heavyweight champion Tyson Fury could be stripped of his licence after revealing he's taken cocaine. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Fury also said he was suffering with depression. The Boxing Board of Control will meet next Wednesday to discuss Fury. General Secretary Robert Smith says there are a number of issues that need to be considered. Andy Murray is through to the third round of the China Open after beating Andre Kuznetsov in straight sets. The 1-2 will allow for his fellow Briton Kyle Edmund in the third round. Ben Stokes says umpires are too quick to crack down on sledging.
안개가 낀 것 같은데.
So we'll see much fines imposed. But ahead of the forthcoming one-day international test series in Bangladesh,
계속 직진입니다. 현재 3시간 정도 와서 4시간 30분 그리고 남은 거리로 270km.
Obviously they have to step in at some point if they feel like it's getting a bit too serious. But yeah, at times there's literally you say one thing which I think is like leave it out.
For Ben Stokes in this week's start on the BBC World Service, England women's rugby team have rebranded as the Red Roses. It's part of the RFU's new 4-year plan for the women's game. Waterman says it's great news.
It's really important because we are our own team. We have our own following in terms of the support. But actually it's encapsulating what we do as a group of female players, but within England rugby. You know, the men wear exactly the same red rose, and we wear ours very proudly. So it's giving us a separate identity, but encapsulating us within England rugby team.
Chelsea ladies will make history tonight as they play at Stamford Bridge for the first time. Emma Hayes' side face Wolfsburg in the Champions League with around 5,000 fans expected. Hayes says it's the right time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a work in progress the last 4 years. You know, the club have really embraced the women's team and more things have happened. And I think the time is right now. We have a competitive side that get the opportunity to play against Europe's best. So, you know, for us, we want to make sure we're ready for that sort of opponent. So the timing is absolutely right.
Australia have included the Wales Rugby League international Kyson Frizzer in their Four Nations squad. Frizzer and Campbell will still play for Wales because they're a Tier 2 nation, Australia in Tier 1. And St Helens back row at
여기 여름에도
the latest
시원할
player
것
to John
같아.
Lee Centurions ahead of their return to Super League next year.
The best live sport, live live. Premier League action. More games, more insight, more moments. We've got reports across the Football League and in Scotland as well. Over 144 live matches. Five Live Sport every day, weeknights from 7 and weekends from 12.
Good to have you with us on Afternoon Edition, Sarah
이야,
Till
경치
4.
봐.
Lots of great tweets about Ken Hom. Ken Hom OBE should have a knighthood. No, make that a sainthood. A stellar guy, a diamond in the culinary world. Somebody else saying, what a legend. An honour to listen to his comments. Passive aggressive. There's a few people talking about the passive aggressive line. Actually, Paul in Irving says, Ken's approach
경치가
is
좋네.
assertive now. He achieves results, but not at the expense of the person spoken to. Most managers could learn a lot from him.
Ah, real talk.
We've got another Ken for you coming up on the programme. Ken Loach will be with us after 3 o'clock. But we started today's programme talking about flexible working. There's this new research around today showing that the more you earn, the more likely you are to be given flexible working arrangements, which can include things like working from home or working.
Now, those who earn more than £70,000 a year are almost 50% more willing to work flexibly than those earning between £10,000 and £40,000.
얘들 비싼 값밖에
So flexible
안 나와
working
있잖아요.
is only for the well-off. Now, is it unrealistic of us to expect to be able to work flexibly?
As an employee, you very much feel that you're doing something wrong. If you're asking for flexible working now, like, you know, you're putting pressure on your organisation or your company, if you're asking for that, when actually it works better myself now as an employer, I understand now that it does actually work quite well for people to flexible working arrangements because they're happy to come to work, they feel valued.
I'm working for a very large employer
경치 좋은 데 나왔네.
She gets pulled away at short notice, and with responsibility, it makes it difficult for us to operate as well as we could.
I think business owners are starting to understand that if they want to remain competitive, then something needs to give. And I think whether or not you're for or against flexible working, at some point you are going to have to accept that it's not going to go away. And especially for small businesses, if you want to place yourself in a competitive scenario,
그래서 스칸다나비아 하는 거야.
flexible working is a really good way of being able to do that.
Now we've got plenty of callers on this call in Watford, Ben in Hearts, Lisa in London, Nick in the Midlands. Hopefully we'll get to all of them, but we'll start with James, who's in Bristol. Good afternoon, James.
Afternoon.
Now you work in the hotel business, don't you? Now you've noticed a bit of a double standard when it comes to who gets flexible working hours and who doesn't.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, in my experience, I've worked in hospitality industry for about 12 years now, and in my experience, it tends to be women are given preference to the man when it comes to flexible working hours. I mean, in terms of days off, for example. In my experience, I've been asked to justify why I need that particular day off, whereas a female colleague in the same department, same job role, would just be given it.
Why? Because she has children, I think.
No, I mean, there's been cases when, yes, they have had children, but there's certainly cases when they have
내봐 속도를 지금 30km 해.
Really? Why? So
자갈이
women
너무 좋았어.
are given days off, no questions asked.
우리 와이프가 막 차에 앉아있는데 가만히 있어. 마누라 뭐해? 아무 이야기 없어.
And was the manager that asked you a man or a woman?
오, 저 금방 우리
It's
따라잡았는데?
interesting, isn't it? Why do you think this is? Why do you think that happened? Do you think it's
왜 이리 안 나오죠, 얘기야?
more than that?
내려막을 만나야지.
Sure, I mean, I've spoken to plenty of people. The hospitality industry is fairly insular and
down
they
here,
kind of knows a bit of everyone. And speaking of the a similar sort of attitude towards when you're expected to work and when you're not expected to work.
It'd be interesting if you've got an experience of that, if you work in the hospitality sector and you've experienced getting time off, no questions asked, and men not. We'd like to hear from you on that. No, slightly off topic, but it's very interesting. 85058. Cheers, James.
James in Bristol there. Let's speak to Nick in the Midlands, who's just stopped off the services on the M5 for us. Nick, thank you very much indeed for doing that and calling into Afternoon Edition. What do you think about this flexible working hours? Do you think that it is unrealistic to expect them? Do you think that actually it makes for greater productivity if you give your workers, your employees, flexible?
Yeah,
hi Nick.
Realistic or unreasonable to expect flexible working hours in this day and age. I think I've been really fortunate in my career that I've really rolled my work and rolled my career around my family, and I understand how important it is, whether it be to do the school run in the morning or to do the
여기 가는 길이 어딘지 맵을
just
한번
generally support your children is really important. And as an employer and as a senior manager who looks after big teams,
이렇게 가는 길에
I always
지금
try
다
and adopt an
좋네.
approach that it's important to me, that it's really important to understand how that impacts families generally. So
Can I just ask you, sorry to interrupt, but this survey that we're looking at today, this report, is saying that people parents earning over 17 grand a year are more likely to get flexible working hours. You're a high earner yourself. Do you think that that's true? Have you been able to do things more flexibly because you're a high earner?
I think there's elements of truth attached to that. I also think that my role in particular away from traditional thinking that you need to be in the office from a certain time and go home at a certain time to actually with the advancements in technology and all of these types of things, yet you are just as productive at home or remote or away from the team as you are with the team.
Nick, thank you very much indeed for your call. Much appreciated. 0500 909 693. It's an amalgam of the phone number and the text 85058. Lisa's with us. What do you think about flexible work?
터널.
I run a startup and I'm a parent and I also work flexibly. So I'm really lucky to be in I work for a parenting side actually. It's Tantrum XYZ and we're all about equal parenting. And I think flexible working does fit into that. I think at the moment provided for mothers and I think that's the focus.
Fathers.
With mothers, but actually what we want to work towards is a world where fathers can also work flexibly because that will put less pressure on mothers to put their careers on hold.
You think that people are worried about slacking off?
Absolutely. I think there are always going to be people, and they're the ones that say, oh yeah, I'm working from home, just nudge, nudge, wink, wink, I'm going to be watching Netflix. That's very annoying, and I can understand why employers are sort of hesitant to allow for flexible working if that's what it's going to mean. However, from my experience, those people are the same ones that slack off in the office, and they're the ones that take 45 minutes in tea rounds, or to sort of chat at the water cooler for hours. And yes, they are in the office, but they are not being productive. And I think there's so many tools now, tech world, I can love that with you. Great conferencing calls, there's brilliant live messaging apps. And I think robust management can happen whether someone has their bottom on their seat in an office or whether they're at home. And actually, working should be dealt with accordingly. And similarly, good people who want to work hard that need to fit their job around task coverage, and they should be rewarded and incentivized as well.
Do you think though that perhaps employers may be some prejudice towards people that ask for flexible working hours because that employer may see that as an attempt to work less, therefore they're not as, it's out of sight, out of mind?
Yes, I think there is fear, and I think that's why it's really important to educate organisations and businesses on how flexible working can be a brilliant thing. Actually, I think it's important to be pro-business here and not anti-business. And actually, businesses can learn if they can allow their parents to work flexibly, they'll retain the best people. I know from my experience, I've got a brilliant job and I absolutely love it. And because my co-founders are really understanding with me, and they'll let me leave early if I need to put my husband to do a childminder pick up, for example. They know that when my son is in bed asleep, I will then pick up all my emails, all my business from the day, and I'll keep on top of it. And I think there are people that slack off a little bit at home, but I just think if there's sort of robust management and good implementation, then this is what happens.
Lisa, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Ben's with us. Ben's from Hertfordshire. Tell us your story, Ben.
Now got two children, and it's got to the point where essentially over the years my wife ended up with a well-paid job in cities and set up on her own. And ironically, she's got flexible working hours because she has to, but she's also incredibly productive because she has to because we now depend on her salary. I decided to become essentially a house husband and look after the children. And it's quite difficult, I think. Now, one of my children got into nursery for 2 days a week to try and get back into the workforce. For me, that's one of the biggest challenges. And I think for me, it's about effective leadership, helping become a bit more outcomes focused. So there's an obsession with the word trust and getting a good framework for people to sort of work flexible hours. That's essential.
Yeah, not feeling that you're being discriminated against just because you've asked for a bit of flexibility. Thank you very much indeed, Ben. It's much appreciated. Ben, thanks to Lisa, thanks to Nick, thanks to James, thanks to all of you. Texting as well, stacks of texts.
Very interesting calls. 49-year-old Arthur Simpson of Kent has been given a life sentence at the Old Bailey for murdering
잠깐만,
former
돌려야
EastEnders
되는 곳이.
actress Cyan Blake, two young sons, 8-year-old Zachary and 4-year-old Homer. Our reporter Daniel Birch is outside the court. Daniel, remind us please of the history to this case.
Well, Arthur Simpson Kent admitted killing his partner Cyan Blake and their two young sons. That was at a hearing earlier this year. But for the past 2 days, yesterday's sentencing hearing began. Today, the judge handed down the sentence, and that is one of a whole. Justice Singh said during the sentence that the court is a mandatory sentence of life imprisonment on each of these 3 counts of murder. In the case of each of these 3 counts, because of the exceptional seriousness of the offences, the early release provisions do not apply, and so the sentence is whole life. Because he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Now, during the sentencing hearing, the details of his crimes were set out to the court, and the prosecution said that he had killed his partner and their 2 sons at the family's home in Erie on the night of December the 14th last year. He had then buried their bodies in the back garden of the house. He then tried to cover up what he had done. He got to the house, partially painted some of the house, and the court had misled friends, family, and police as to what he'd done. That included sending a text message from Cyan Blake's phone, pretending it was from her. It was in fact a text message that he had sent, and he'd done that after he had already killed her and their 2 young sons. He then fled to Ghana via Glasgow and Amsterdam. It was there that he was arrested by local police. He was then extradited back to the UK.
오랜만에 해서 좀 어려웠지만 그래도 잘했습니다. 우리 와이프도 잘했어.
Daniel, have we had any reaction from Cyan Blake's family?
자가를 싣고 오슬로로 배송을 잘했습니다.